It's the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills in the best matchup of week one of the NFL season. I'm going to tell you why this season, why the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to suck. No, of course not. I'm just kidding. The Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers are two of the top three teams, along with the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC. I love this matchup. The only thing I wish is that we could have seen this in like week 8, week 9, week 10 on Sunday Night Football, something like that. But hey, in terms of week one matchups, I don't think you can get much better. Now, the game plan, we usually drill into analytics, what the stats are, how the stats pertain to one another, how the defenses and offenses are playing. Obviously, this is week one. I don't want to go into what happened last season because these are two different teams. The Buffalo Bills defense, I love the moves that they made in the offseason. I love the moves that they made in the draft. They are going to be much better. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, I love the moves that they made as well, specifically getting rid of Randy Fichtner as their offensive coordinator, and they're going to be a much more balanced team offensively. So the keys to the game, look, Buffalo is going to have to stop Najee Harris in the run game. The Pittsburgh Steelers will run. What do the Steelers need to do? They need to get to Josh Allen. They need to sack Josh Allen. This is going to be just a slug match all game. Let me get right to the fantasy football projections. You can see on the screen here the Buffalo Bills projections. Obviously, I have Josh Allen scoring quite well this week at 22.7 points. Singletary and Moss. Look, I don't want to say that the Buffalo Bills are a one-dimensional team. They choose to be a one-dimensional team. I like Devin Singletary, and by the way, I like him more than Zach Moss. I think he's more of a dynamic player. To me, he reminds me a lot of what Phillip Lindsay was for the Denver Broncos before he moved on to the Houston Texans. And what I mean by that is he can catch, he can run, he's explosive, he's dynamic, but he doesn't get used that often. And it's hard to criticize the Buffalo Bills, by the way, for going to Josh Allen and their talented receiving group. Stephon Diggs, I think, is going to have a monster game. No disrespect to the Bills secondary. Obviously, they're very good, and I think the Bills, the Steelers secondary, and the Steelers will force some turnovers. I think the Steelers will get their licks in, but I do think Stephon Diggs makes it into the end zone. Now, Emmanuel Sanders is interesting to me. I wouldn't start him. A lot of people have been asking me about Emmanuel Sanders in fantasy football. I think Gabriel Davis is better than Emmanuel Sanders. I think that Gabriel Davis will take the step forward, but as for now, Emmanuel Sanders is ahead of Gabriel Davis in the depth chart. I do not think that will be the case moving forward into the NFL season. Cole Beasley, look, offseason aside, all the goofy stuff that he's been coming out in the press with, I think he's going to continue to score well in PPR type formats. I think 13.3 points per game or in this game. I don't know if that gets him into the end zone, but I do think that he gets a lot of receptions and a pretty decent amount of yardage. Honestly, I think the most likely person to exceed these expectations is Gabriel Davis, like I was saying. Gabriel Davis got a lot of touchdowns last year. He's dynamic. Like I said, I think he's the second best receiver on this Bills team outside of Stephon Diggs. I think Davis is going to take another step forward this year, get a lot more receptions, a lot more catches. Even if he duplicates last year's touchdown numbers, that's going to be a good year. Dawson Knox, he's always a factor on the goal line to get into the end zone, but he's not going to be a factor in between the 20s, so I think you can forget him. As for the Pittsburgh Steelers, fantasy-wise, you see I have a lot less players listed because I don't think a lot of the players on the Pittsburgh Steelers, like Benny Snell, I don't care about him, and neither should you. Ben Roethlisberger, last year this projection probably would have had Roethlisberger at like 23, 24 points. This year, I'm telling you, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to run more. I think the switch from Fichtner, who absolutely refused to run the ball after Le'Veon Bell left town in Pittsburgh, those days are gone. The promotion of Canada, Matt Canada, I think. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Steelers fans. The promotion of Canada will be big for the Steelers. They're a two-dimensional team. I think the Steelers are going to be better than they were last year. Last year, the teams figured it out. The Steelers were just passing 7 yards and in the whole season. This season is not going to be that case. And then when they get to the goal line, if it's first and goal from the 1 yard line, I think we might actually see them run the ball. Najee Harris, I do think will score well, 18.2 points. I've been telling everybody who reads the Fantasy Football Almanac and Draft Guide, draft Najee Harris in the second round. He was stealing money at that pick. He should have been a first rounder, but of course you didn't have to draft him in the first round. So everybody that got Najee Harris, feel good about it. Start him. The Bills' defense will be better than last year, but Najee Harris will get his. He'll be a 3-down back. And yes, I'm telling you, unless he takes a couple more years off the jet ski like Le'Veon Bell did, Najee Harris, I believe, will have a better Steelers career than Le'Veon Bell. That is not a hot take. That's how I feel. I'm not trying to be like polarizing or anything like that. That's how highly I think of Najee Harris in this offense. Juju Smith-Schuster, always consistent. I like him. Go ahead and start him. Deontay Johnson, I don't have as a great projection. Look, Deontay Johnson, I think the Steelers will pass a little bit less. I think Johnson will play better than last year. I just have a feeling the drop skis that he had in 2020 will be behind him. I'm probably going to start him and roll the dice a little bit. I don't like the computer projection here, but I think Deontay will do well. Even though the Steelers aren't going to be passing as much as they were last year, I think the quality per pass attempt will be better. I think they'll get more yards per pass attempt because defenses will have to respect Najee Harris in the run game. Chase Claypool, I think, gets into the end zone. 14.5 points. Eric Ebron, 8.6 points, which is reasonable. It means he gets some catches, some yards, but probably not in the end zone. And then Pat, like, Steelers fans, help me out. Freiermuth, tell me which one it is. Comment below. He cometh. He is better than Eric Ebron. He will break through. Everybody's talking about Pitts in Atlanta, about how great a tight end he is. I'm telling you, I think Freiermuth is, or Freiermuth, let's call the whole thing off. I think he is going to be the starting tight end by the end of the year. He's the guy that you might want to have if you're in a dynasty league because he's so inexpensive. He's on a lot of people's waiver wire right now. Just keep him in your mind. Watch him. He's going to be good. Now, as for the game, my prediction, the score, I predict that the score will be, actually, I shouldn't say I do. I think the Steelers have a chance. I think this is going to be within a field goal, but my computer projections have the Steelers 27, Bills 29. Bills win a close one at home. I am definitely taking the Steelers plus 6.5 if I were betting. I think the Bills, look, it wouldn't shock me if Pittsburgh wins. I had some computer models telling me it was going to be Pittsburgh 33, Buffalo 32, but the most basically average score projections in my computer projections were Steelers losing by 2 to Buffalo. This is going to be a heavyweight match between, like I said, two of the best 3 teams in the AFC. Both of these teams will make a deep run, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, because of the run game, will be better when it comes to playoff time. Teams that decide that they will actually run the ball in the red zone are always a factor. The Steelers will be better, but hey, so will the Bills with that defense. I'll be back next week, probably with some video. I apologize for not putting my ugly face on the screen. Please like, comment, subscribe. Come back next week. Tell me why I'm right. Tell me why I'm wrong, and I look forward to seeing you again.